What is up, guys? Welcome to This Week in Wrestling by the Straight Edge Wrestling Podcast. If you're new here, please like and subscribe to us here on this channel. Head over and follow us on Twitter at SEW_podcast. How have you found the week this week in wrestling?
Oh, it's interesting. Once again, Wednesday night definitely stole the show.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I think NXT as a whole show was better, but then once again, like last week, though, I think NXT had the better show of how they did things, even with some of their people not being allowed to be there because they're idiots. But then once again, though, AEW still had either some of the better matches or key moments.
Yeah, or I'll say this: I thought NXT did a good job with what it had. You know, having to miss people and having to do the thing with Finn and the tag match, which they didn't plan on doing. You know,
I got to admit, the opening bit for that I just love because I just love the way Scarlett manipulated.
Yeah. So like they had to do sort of the best they could. I thought it was a weak episode. I thought it was one of the weaker episodes, but I did enjoy it. I thought it was good. But yeah, once again, Wednesday still kills it. Whilst we just get half-assed stuff from Smackdown and Raw constantly, or repetition.
It's going to be a bit disappointing once NXT moves to like Tuesday night, and Wednesday nights won't be as interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's be honest. Will AEW still be as good if they're not feeling like they're having a challenge against them? Like WWE at times, when they haven't been challenged, they're not as good.
It's a good point. And same with NXT, because NXT really has completely changed its model, right? After, like, if you go back 3 or 4 years ago, or not even that, if you go back to, say, Wrestlemania 35, around that time, around the TakeOver around there, they weren't throwing title matches on an NXT. You know, they weren't doing that sort of stuff.
Well, no, they were occasionally because they had even less fucking takeovers back then.
Yeah, but I mean, it was even rarer to get big matches on the TV because they would wait for the takeovers. Whereas now, because they feel like they have to compete with NXT, that's where we got like Halloween Havoc and all that sort of stuff come back. So I think both of them are it's gonna be interesting. But
I hope both of them decide to put some more fucking pay-per-views on through the fucking year. It'll be better.
Yes. But so this week we've had a little bit of news. Some news. I mean, obviously we'll start with the good and then move on to the stupidity that was at NXT. But Eric Bischoff announced to be the newest inductee at the 2021 WWE Hall of Fame.
Well, it's about fucking time, ain't it? But does he get inducted twice now? Because they're going to let him go with NWO as well.
He's not going in with NWO. No. But yeah, it is.
Come on, when it comes to fucking national, they'll probably call him on stage.
Oh, it'd be interesting because they're recording the Hall of Fame apparently this coming week. They're recording it on two separate nights, and it is all being aired on one night on that Tuesday. So they're not planning on splitting the classes over 2 nights, from what I can gather at the moment. They've announced they're all airing on that Tuesday before Mania. I think it's before Mania. But yeah, I mean, Bischoff. I can't believe that Bischoff hadn't been in there. To be honest, it's like just weird to me that he's one of the biggest.
That's a surprise me.
Yeah, he's like.
Let's be honest. He's one of the ones that will still jump around trying to do things to help competitors as well. But he deserves to be in it.
Yeah, that is pretty.
What he's done.
That is pretty incredible. like, he was on AEW TV like 3 weeks ago, and now he's being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame.
Well, they've got a little. At the end of the day, it's one of the ones. His little choice. Come on, it's like Vince McMahon. He changed the wrestling business by buying up the territories, and then he made Vince McMahon, who changed the wrestling business, have to relook and rechange things. As Eric just rechanged it again on how you do TV.
Yeah, I mean, like, anyone that watches this show knows I quote Bischoff's 83 Weeks quite a lot because him talking about the business and stuff. It's interesting hearing it from someone who did, as you say, change everything. I did my own video. I did my own separate video on his induction earlier this week. But he introduced live television really into wrestling because Monday Night Raw was being pre-taped at the time. He made it.
Took away gimmicks.
Yeah, exactly. No, people didn't have to have stupid careers as a wrestler. They didn't have to be a hockey player or a plumber or something like that.
Hey, don't start on the hockey player, man.
The Goon and TL Hopper and all those god awful things. Yeah, he made it real, nitty gritty, reality based storytelling, and it's it's still something we see today. I mean, and people often forget. Obviously, we know the cruiserweights and the luchadors and that sort of wrestling was happening in Mexico and Japan and whatever. But he introduced cruiserweights into Western wrestling.
That's bullshit. That was Paul Heyman in ECW.
As Bischoff said, millions of times, all 4 people that were watching ECW may have liked it, but you know, the audience was so tiny that no one knew that they existed. You know.
Yeah, but still, let's be honest. I'll give Paul Heyman the credit on getting those guys over, and then I'll give Eric Bischoff the credit for stealing them.
Yeah, but well, like as Bischoff said, when they brought all them over into WCW, they'd never watched ECW. He didn't. It wasn't on his radar because it was so not watched at the time that they didn't even realise. And obviously, it took them a long time to get the Dean Malenkos, the Rey Mysterios, Eddie Guerreros, Benoit, Jericho.
Yeah, the problem is though, what Eric Bischoff then did was piss them all off, so they fucked off the WWE. So,
well, it wasn't even Bischoff. Bischoff was gone at that point. It was what's his name? The Dungeon Master. I can't think of his name, but he was part of the Dungeon of Doom and all that.
Yeah, but even with Eric at the time as well, they always knew they were never going to do much better than where they were.
Yeah, he saw them as.
That's why they were happy.
Yeah, he saw them as their own division, which to keep them as their own division. Yeah, but I mean, who left? Was it? It was Perry Saturn, Eddie, and Ray, and Benoit. That they left altogether, didn't they? While still under contract, which is I've heard JR talk about that quite a bit, where he said they were still under contract, and WCW just went, "Yeah, you can go, no problem." They just let them go, and you think, Jesus.
It's because they didn't care. That was the problem.
But yeah, it's like the things that like Eric and his team, because obviously not always just Eric. Like he wasn't in creative for the beginning of the NWO and stuff. He didn't. He came up with some premises, but he wasn't writing the shows at that point. You know, he was overseeing as producer. But the idea of telling a nitty gritty story being darker, you know, Scott Hall long darting Rey Mysterio into the production truck at WCW, that sort of thing. You hadn't seen it before, and then it forced WWF to go Attitude, right? So I think people don't give the credit where it should go a lot of the time. They seem to think that WWF in a bubble created Austin and The Rock and the Attitude Era, when we all know it was in retaliation to WCW killing them for 83 weeks.
Yeah, and then Vince Russo gets the credit of killing the business.
Yeah, there we are. But it's a long overdue induction. I can't wait to hear his speech. I don't know who's going to induct him. My assumption being
Hogan.
See, Hogan's going in, obviously with NWO. But my assumption was
pop back over.
Yeah, my assumption was going to be DDP because they're really close, and DDP's doing a lot with WWE on the bump and all this stuff. So I reckon it'll be him. But
it'll probably be Triple H.
That wouldn't be bad, or Vince. That wouldn't be bad. That'd be interesting.
You know, Vince doesn't like to pop up. He's only done that once.
That's true. But yeah, other than that, we also talking about WWE's recording schedule. So this is fun, right? So next Friday, WWE are recording either 2 or 3 weeks worth of Smackdown. So what they're going to be doing is they're going to pre-record the Smackdowns leading up to WrestleMania, and then they're going to do one Smackdown live. I believe the hope is that then they can keep everyone safe leading up to Mania, so that there isn't an outbreak within the main roster leading up to the big show when they need them there.
But I thought he posted the thing that if you break the rules now, you're gone.
He has. But obviously, I don't think Vince McMahon trusts the talent, because I wouldn't. When you see how a lot of them act on social media and they go around partying and stuff.
Yeah, but the problem is as well, though, you don't just giving your talent a lot of time off before you hit a pay-per-view. So
yeah, you've got to hope that they're going to be smarter. But yeah, so this week we know that NXT had a huge outbreak by the sounds of it, and not everyone that was off television tested positive. Obviously, lots of them just had to quarantine because they were in contact with other people who tested positive. We don't know who tested positive yet because they've not released that information. But there was lots of notable names not at NXT this week. Triple H probably being the number one. But lots of...
Yeah, but if they hadn't brought that name up, no one would have realised.
No. But yeah.
Where it was like Johnny Gongano and that, where they're on FaceTime. Gets noticeable.
Yeah, exactly. And there was...
And then Thatcher, later on, you kind of then realise the reason why he's not there in a minute.
Yeah, so there's lots of people, and there was lots of segments that were filmed from people's apartments and people's homes in NXT. I've noticed that 'cause the quality was a bit less, the show was run by Shawn Michaels and Road Dogg this week. They done it all whilst Triple H was quarantining. He also wasn't at Raw, which is not normal as well. He wasn't at Raw the couple of days before. But yeah, the story goes is that Vince McMahon and lots of people are very, very pissed off in that WWE have just purchased an adjacent warehouse opposite the Performance Center where they set up rings and they use it as a secondary gym.
Yeah.
And people were moving rings and moving equipment across buildings, very few of whom were wearing masks in a week prior to the NXT, but a week prior to the outbreak sort of thing happening. And then lots of the people who were taking part in that came down ill as a result of it, so that anyone that was in the Performance Center and people who were at gyms obviously had to quarantine as well. See, the reason that people like Finn Balor and like those sort of people aren't in contact is they don't use the Performance Center because they've got their home gyms, right? So they don't need it. So people who have got the home gyms, invested in home gyms, managed to escape this quite well. But yeah, by all accounts, Vince McMahon is livid with talent not following the rules because, well, I mean, we've mentioned it here before. He made promises.
Yeah, but at the same time, the people that are the management of that area, if they're doing the work, and most of them have gotten sick, fired, doing work for you, how can you be mad at them? From my understanding, it was more of them all ass fucking around, breaking all the social things and just going out and fucking around, not doing work for them. So why, if you got management like that, not keeping an eye and saying why you're not wearing the safety gear?
Right, yeah, true. But yeah, I mean, but by the sounds of it, they're not. They don't know if. It sounds like people were sick, and then were doing the moving around the Performance Center without masks on. So they'd already got it because they were out fucking around, going to parties, boat parties, all that sort of stuff, And then they brought it into the Performance Center and spread it because, as you rightly say, they weren't wearing the protective gear like they should be. Yeah, I mean.
So you've also got management to blame for that, then, haven't you? Just take a hard look at himself.
Yeah. And obviously they're saying, because they were outside taking things across, it's fine. It's like, yeah, but there's so many of you.
No offence. Part of my job involves me working outside and then going inside. I wear a mask either way when I'm around a bunch of people. I have no idea what they do in their social lives.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Exactly. But I don't know. It's just so crazy. Like that we're over a year into this now, and WWE still. Well, their main roster's being pretty good, to be fair, but the NXT just seems to be a complete clusterfuck. And that Performance Center really, it shouldn't say NXT, the Performance Center really seems to be a complete clusterfuck. But yeah, I don't know, and especially when, as we've spoken about before, Vince McMahon made promises to lots of people about safety if they were to return to work.
Yeah.
Roman, Kevin Owens, Kyle O'Reilly, who's got diabetes and is autoimmune suppressed, Daniel Bryan, those sorts of people. So he kind of has to take a hard stance against it, but geez, it's just stupid. Also, Peacock launched the WWE Network this week, and my God, it is a dumpster fire of shit. I checked it out, and it's just awful. Firstly, the back catalogue isn't on there yet. They've got most of the pay-per-views. They've got the last year of TV. Some of the originals, not all the originals. They're saying that the content will be uploaded before SummerSlam. That's when they're planning it to be uploaded. And nothing's in order. So, for example, if you go on Peacock and you type in John Cena, I swear to God, I tweeted it out. You can head over onto Twitter and see this. It comes up with 0 results. John Cena doesn't exist, according to Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan. You can't just type in WrestleMania 17 and it pop up. It's shit. There's everything's A to Z as well. So, and also you click on the Raw Rumble and it says Season 3. What they mean is the 3rd Raw Rumble. But they call it Season 3 rather than, the 1986 Raw Rumble. Just awful shit, just stupid cataloguing. They had enough time. Awful. Yeah, I'm very glad now that we get to retain the WWE Network here because that's just...
I just don't feel why has it got to be till SummerSlam when they get the whole catalogue when that's not what they stated when they were doing this deal?
Yeah, they only announced it about a week before it launched that they would be migrating all of the catalogue gradually over time. And it's like, you sons of bitches, you had time to prepare this.
But the fucking American lot, they're paying for fucking shit. That apparently they're not getting what they were promised.
So lots of exactly. So lots of the old archive content. If you want to go watch Mid South Wrestling or WCCW or something like that, that's not there. You cannot watch any of that. Lots of the ECW TV, you can't watch any of that old stuff. Some Nitros are on there, but like pre-Nitro, WCW pre-Nitro, that's not on there.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've, as you say, they're paying. I mean, I know WWE've cut a load of deals, so at the moment it's $9.99 for 4 months. So you get 4 months for $9.99. So I know they get lots of deals and what have you, but yeah, it's just a dumpster fire. I wouldn't be happy. But yeah, other than that, let's talk about the shows. So, Raw. What do you think about Raw?
I think R-Truth is a fucking superstar.
R-Truth is so funny. R-Truth is so funny. Did you see the clip of Drew McIntyre accidentally swearing?
What on when he did his promo?
It was next to R-Truth. I think I can't remember if it was like what it was called, Raw Talk or whatever. But it went around social media.
I don't really watch.
No, neither do I. But it went around social media, and Drew McIntyre was like getting all pent up, cutting a promo, and he accidentally like dropped the F-bomb, and R-Truth had to like cover for him and try and like goof around and stuff. It was genius. But yeah, I mean, we're getting Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania.
Yeah, well, I still think that was a bit stupid just to drop saying, if you're going to do that, why not just drop that next week?
Yeah. I think
instead of just turning it right now saying, we're going to make Drew Sheamus match mean a bit more.
I think
this number one contenders match.
I think. Do you know what the problem is as well? I think this is complete speculation on my part. But I think tickets for WrestleMania were going on sale this week, and they wanted their main events announced. I think they wanted something on the card for people to actually buy the damn tickets. But then also they didn't announce like what night each match is going on, so I don't really get it. But yeah, I think that they rushed, because they also announced like the AJ match and all that. They suddenly started like rushing match announcements out for Mania this week, which
but at least AJ ones made sense.
Yeah.
How they did that for me is just like, no offense, at the end of the day, you can stay up there and advertise, well, you're going to have Drew or Sheamus, which neither one won in that against that should be an insane match.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, they've now announced what Drew and Sheamus tonight at Fastlane is no holds barred. But yeah, they could.
Yeah, I've seen.
They could have just tacked on a number one contenders thing. You're absolutely right.
So at least we know either Sheamus or Drew will be in that match.
Especially seeing as I know I hyped on this last week as well, but we've been told for the last 5 years, no automatic rematches, and now they just pick and choose when to use that. Yeah, no, you're right. You're exactly right. Also, Bad Bunny just handed over his title.
Well, you got the limited edition Broken Skull one.
I wouldn't mind that. The 316 day.
No, I don't quite know what the limited edition one looked like, because it looks like the one I got on my wall, if I'm honest. What was on his shoulder.
Oh yeah, I mean, no. So they've announced they've released a different one. I haven't got a photo of it, but they've released a different one, which isn't a Smoking Skull Championship whatsoever. It's silver and blue or whatever. It's
yeah, but what they stated on his was the limited edition one. It's not.
Yeah, I don't know what, because I looked in WWE shop and I couldn't see no limited edition version. I could see the new Stone Cold title, but that was about it. But yeah, I mean, what else was really on the show other than we had the Hurt Business and the New Day. I don't get why they took the titles off Hurt Business, if I'm honest.
I don't fully understood that one.
Because we're just getting into a real cool stride with the Hurt Business.
But I don't fully understand that one. It looks like they are definitely now going ahead with The Miz and John Morrison against
Bad Bunny and what's his name?
Well, I feel really bad because I fucking love him.
It's completely slipped my mind. So Damian Priest.
That's the one. I feel so bad for getting his name.
I don't know why Aleister Black's name just wouldn't get out of my head then. But yeah.
No, wrong.
But yeah, Damian Priest. I mean, they're doing stuff with them. I think it'll be an all right match. Bad.
At the moment, though, when it comes to WrestleMania, I'm trying to figure out in my head right now with the two sort of storylines going on when it comes to the women's tag team division right now, and who's going to WrestleMania right now, because you got stuff happening on SmackDown that could happen to lead to this. You got stuff happening on Raw.
Yeah, and also Charlotte has been taken off of the posters and the advertising and stuff for Mania because we know Asuka has got a concussion. So they seem to have walked back after Charlotte calling Asuka out. They seem to already be walking that back because they actually don't know whether or not they will be able to go with Asuka, which is a bit of a shame. Asuka hasn't had a break really, has she?
So far in the last year that she's had this fucking women's championship, she hasn't done an awful lot with it when she wasn't injured.
No. So she had.
Apart from losing it to Sasha and having some things to do with Sasha, apart from that, I don't really remember an awful lot more than she did with that belt.
No, it's a shame. But yeah, I mean, other than that, we're still going with the Riddle and Mustafa Ali stuff. You had Sheamus and...
I'm hoping that's over with after this thing, because...
Apparently they've got something big planned for Retribution, which is going to be filmed this week, which the insinuation is that it's going to be some kind of breakup, which, finally...
All I'm hoping for is finally that the other guys kick the crap out of Ali. Because no offense, they do all the work, then, and someone else steps in and takes over. Someone with some actual leading role, I believe.
Well, it sounds like they may just break them up and try and have some solo stars, Dominic Dijakovic, Mia Yim, have them go solo. Which, I mean,
what about the mask?
Yeah, I mean they bloody should drop the stupid names, T-Rex and whatever, and let Dominic Dijakovic be freaking Dijakovic, But
I gotta admit that I quite like the Shane and Braun stuff this week.
Yeah, I was very split, but yeah, it was good. It just makes no sense, does it? Right? Like it just seems to have come out of absolutely nowhere.
I was just like, oh my god, it's the DX slime.
I tweeted that. Do you remember like the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards? Do you remember they used to slime them? That was literally. I was like, I feel like I'm watching the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice.
No, I was just like that. It's the DX slime again.
That was. I mean, they're obviously just going to have a big clusterfuck match at Mania, aren't they? It's just going to be like Shane jumping off shit, Braun throwing Shane through shit.
Yeah, but the problem is though, why we haven't? What's going to happen at Fastlane right now between those two?
Nothing. Nothing. I don't know. We had Alexa Bliss challenge Randy Orton to take her out.
Well, we just know that just to bring the Fiend back.
Yeah. Obviously, starts setting up for the Fiend versus Randy at Mania. Yeah, we said it last week. We were talking about it last week about that sort of setup. I'm interested to see what they do with that, with the Fiend's return and with Alexa and Randy. I'm actually quite interested in that tonight.
It'd be more probably Alexa being the Blair Witch lady again. Randy Orton spewing up everywhere, and then just managed to get hold of her, and then the lights go out and the Fiend shows up.
Yeah. And NXT, so obviously, as we said, this NXT was a bit... they didn't do what they wanted to do this week. They had to cancel lots of matches which they already announced, and they had to throw together a tag match in the main event, which was a very good match, very cool ending, but wasn't the original plan. So they actually made the best out of a bad situation there. I mean, the start with Karrion Kross, Scarlett, Finn was very good. Very good.
Yeah, I like the way you finally had Devlin make his return. Problem is, when they actually do that match at Hotel, part of me does kind of want Devlin to lose. Even though he is amazing, I just feel at the moment with how the other one with his two guys and everything, I just feel it's probably a better way to go forwards. But Devlin's doing great work.
I think, you're right. I think they've obviously... because Devlin's new back, I reckon they're going to run with that just because he's new back. But yeah, you're right.
That, and all of a sudden, there was a big, apart from that Austin Theory wrestling this week, apart from that being great news, there was some big thing happening on this show. Certain United Kingdom champion showed up.
Yeah. So Walter was there, and which was cool. I didn't hear a word about that coming, so that was really cool. I love Walter. I think Walter was great, so that was really cool.
Yeah, well, let's be honest. Walter doesn't want to stay over there,
Nah.
so I know he'll only go over
Yeah,
there
he's
short
made it
term.
very clear that he wants to be able to be based in Europe, which fair enough to him. But yeah, and yeah, Austin Theory versus Dexter Lumis, which
That was a good
uh,
match just for the
yeah,
storytelling they were doing.
yeah, it was. It's such a weird story. I enjoyed it, but yeah, it's such a weird story.
I would have loved though for Fury to somehow just pick up that win.
Yeah, yeah,
He deserves it.
yeah. He's done some genuinely incredible work. But that's good.
So
I mean, once again, I kind of assumed this was going to be a takeover match. It may still be, but I'm assuming Johnny Gargano versus Dexter Lumis.
I think it's going more that
Yeah,
way,
yeah. Because I was surprised it wasn't.
which is a shame though because those two could have had their match at this takeover gone by, which I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what we both said at the time, when it we were like, oh, okay.
So, but instead they just kidnapped him instead,
Yeah, but
as you do.
well, that was good. I mean, for a show which wasn't planned, I think they've done very well. Like, especially Walter.
What you're trying to say is they did a better job than McMahon, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, without a doubt, that's not even debatable. Yeah, no, I thought it was good. Yeah, like I said, there was lots of people who you could tell were missing. Lots of matches. People like Leon Rush and stuff who were advertised for matches who weren't on the show because they just had to bob it off. We had Eli Drake on the show for his first in ring match.
It's not Eli Drake though,
what's his name? LA Knight. LA Knight. Eli
Yes.
Drake. Yeah, LA Knight.
The fact that when he was originally there in the first place, at the same time originally when EC3 was there, and they were both under different names.
Really?
Yeah, because EC3 was under like Derek or something like that, and I never remember
EC3 was Derek Bateman, I think, if I remember rightly.
Something like that. I can never remember what Eli Drake's name there was, mainly because he wasn't a major big part at that point. He was sort of in the background, not being used. That's when they both buggered off over to TNA.
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember EC3 being, but yeah, I can't remember his original name. But no, it was a good show. The end to the show, obviously, we had a bit of a cluster with with Scarlett, Finn, and what.
I got admit, I thought the ending was pretty much how it needed to go. Unless you're just going to give those to the You're on mute, do you?
And yeah, I thought, to be fair, I thought the end of the show was good. I'm looking forward to Karrion Kross and Finn at TakeOver.
Oh yeah, those two are going to fucking kill it.
Yeah, and it's the same thing again. They announced they wanted to announce this one now because the tickets and stuff, as they want to let people know what's on each night. But yeah, it should be a good match.
But then at the same time, I think Adam Cole and Kyle did a great job.
So I reckon you're probably going to be right in saying that
they're both your main events for each night.
Right, exactly. You've got main event for night one, main event for night two. Right, because as much as I think the women's division's doing well, I don't think they've got any established story there, which is as big. You know,
it's not. Yeah, there's no big thing there.
Yeah. So whereas
let's be honest, we all know Rodriguez is going to win women's title.
Yeah. They've been grooming Rachel Rodriguez so well, Raquel. So.
And she's just finally signed the contract on Twitter.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, she's done it on Twitter.
That was a good show, and then AEW both had obviously St. Patrick's Day themes.
Oh yeah, there was a leprechaun on the show. This is the best thing I've taken away from the whole thing when they tweeted out the other one. Oh look, you see, look, leprechaun. Look. Fucking pentagon.
That was so stupid. I love that so much. But yeah, so I love this AEW show. I've got to say this. I did actually watch AEW Elevation as well because it was the first one. I thought I'm going to watch it, and
as a big show on commentary.
Very, very good. Obviously, he's new to it, so it's a bit monotone at times, or whatever. But he gets in it, and you know what? You could tell he clearly spoke to the talent because he was telling stories about the talent, their moves, really calling proper moves.
So, do we think he'll be the next one to take over from JR?
I wouldn't be mad if they did bring him onto the main roster, if I'm honest, because I thought they were very good. And Tony Schiavone is very, very good at carrying. You know, so. Not that Big Show needed carrying, but because he's new, you know, to it, you know what I mean? Yeah. I really enjoyed it. The show was actually very well done. They had what's him? Kenny Omega and Evan Bourne on it. What's Evan Bourne's name in this? Matt Seidel. Matt Seidel on the show.
What's his name? What you mean his real name?
Yeah. So what's his name? What's his name on the AEW? I forget. Is it Matt Seidel? Yeah. So he.
You have the Seidel brothers, don't you?
Yeah. So the Seidel brothers had a tag match, and then they confronted Kenny backstage, and Kenny said that if you could win X match now against Michael Nakazawa, then you can get a shot at the title. And he went out, he beat Michael Nakazawa, and then Kenny Omega beat living crap out of Matt Seidel, and Tony Khan came out as a proper on-screen character and shouted angrily at Kenny Omega and said that they'll
with the microphone in his hand, or
yeah, shouted angrily and booked a match, Matt Seidel versus Kenny Omega for Dynamite for next Wednesday, which should be kind of cool. But yeah, so they're actually
but the only problem is though, no one else is going to know the backstory to this, right?
Right, exactly. And this is a point that I've got written down in my notes. When it was live, because I watched it live, it had 30,000 viewers. That was it. So its live viewership worldwide was 30,000. Obviously now it's got more over the week, but it only got live 30,000 viewers, and it ran over and went head to head with Raw for about 25 minutes, which was just ridiculous.
Did it keep the 30,000 people there?
It did, which tells me one thing, right? That it's just AEW diehards that are watching it, and they probably aren't going to, and because it's on YouTube, they probably had that on and still probably had Raw on, on the TV because it was on YouTube. 30,000. I don't care what Dave Meltzer has to say about numbers and that's big numbers and shit. It isn't. It isn't. At the same time, I even thought, do you know what I'm going to do? Is I'm going to go and look. I'm going to go look on Twitch and see on YouTube and see who else was live at the time. And I looked and I saw that there was a person playing Minecraft on Twitch, and at the time, he had 50,000 viewers. So
that's some sad fuckers.
Yeah, so I thought I'm gonna have a look to see what basically the competition is at the time, and they were losing to a man playing Minecraft. So, I don't want to hear people say it's big numbers. I really don't. That's stupid. But anyway, AEW Dynamite was a brilliant show. Elevation was a good show.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dynamite was great. I think we've got to talk about the women's match. I want to go straight in with the women's match because that genuinely may be my favourite women's match ever. I thought it was just incredibly good. Incredibly good.
Yeah. I've got to admit, it was a very good match. It's also one of those matches that also helped to have some blood involved. Yeah.
Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa both came out of that looking good. Britt Baker came out of that looking incredible. There was a scene where Britt was like on her knees covered in blood and she smiled at the camera, which...
Well, yeah, that's why she's got a t-shirt out of it now, and that's why it's been the top seller for this week.
Yeah, it's like that was such a star-making moment, which, yeah, I loved it. And
I gotta admit, it's still not the most brutal female match I've watched, because that still goes down to, I think, Terrence and Gail Kim in one of their first ever female I Quit matches on Impact.
I've never seen
that was quite
I've never seen it, but yeah. I thought it was good. So it is officially the highest rated women's match of all time, jointly with, I believe, Charlotte and Becky. I can't remember, or Charlotte and Sasha. I can't remember, but it's no. Bailey and Sasha from Takeover.
You mean Bailey and Sasha at the Takeover?
Bailey and Sasha at Takeover. Yeah, it's the third most is Charlotte and Becky.
Forget about Bailey.
The third most is Charlotte and Becky at the ladder match, the TLC. That was, yes. I mean, 4.75 stars Dave Meltzer gave it. And Britt Baker, they done like a backstage thing on YouTube after the match where they were pulling like the pins out of Britt's back. And she was like, hey, as long as Dave gives it 5, I'm all right. But yeah,
no, she didn't quite get 5.
She didn't. All that for 4.75. Goddamn. I mean, it's quite a lot because Dave hates hardcore wrestling, so it's actually pretty impressive for him to get that. Dave always marks hardcore stuff down low. But yeah, and let's be honest, I think we had one of the best promos I've seen in a long time on this show as well.
What, Brian Cage?
No. MJF Tully Blanchard, all the crew came out. Tully cut an incredible promo himself, saying that he, 36 years ago, started a team with the best wrestlers in the world, and now he's going to end his career with a team with the best wrestlers in the world. And
that's the team he picked.
and MJF then cut one of the best promos I've heard in years, which was just incredible. And really sold. Also, I quite like the name. Was it Pinnacle? I think it was Pinnacle. I like that name.
I was hoping for the Four Horsemen then finally come back.
Well, do you know what's funny is I didn't realise this. You saying that because someone else said that. Arn Anderson owns it.
Yeah, I know. We spoke about this before.
So Arn owns the name. So
because you told me about a week or two ago that he owned the name.
Oh, did I? Maybe I heard that a few. Oh, I did because I was saying it. Yeah. So
that's why I was hoping that they'd bring back the Four Horsemen.
Yeah, because they're selling some merch, Four Horsemen merch, old retro stuff right now, which is kind of cool. But yeah, so
because I think it would have been really good because they virtually all fit the character styles of the Four Horsemen.
Yeah, I mean they could just call them. Could have called themselves the Horsemen. It would have been kind of cool because obviously it's not four of them. But
well, they could still do the Four Horsemen because technically, 4 of them are contracted to AEW. 4 of them are the main thing. Let's be honest, Warlord's the bodyguard of thing, and the other one's a manager. So it's 4 wrestlers and things. So it's still
they
4.
Could have called them. They could have called them the New Horsemen, the Horsemen, something like that. But no, I quite like.
But at the same time, back in the day as well, through the next part of going through the Four Horsemen, and other times having more than 4 people. So
yeah, I think the original incarnation, with JJ Dillon and Flair and Tully and but I thought. I always cringe when they name these sort of teams because they so often are so cheesy. But I thought that was good going. And I think we both said it the other week, and I think we're going to hit the nail on the head here. They're clearly going to go for blood and guts with, with the Inner Circle and Pinnacle. And I was listening to
whenever they do that, Matt. Whenever that pay-per-view ever comes back.
Yeah. They really want to keep it for like full crowd. But like I have Meltzer saying, oh, they should be doing that match, at the next pay-per-view. And I'm like, no. How about we tell a nice long story here? How about we tell a story for the next 6 months because you've got a million feuds in there, haven't you? You've got Jericho and MJF. You've got FTR and Santana and Ortiz.
You got MJF with every single one of them.
Yeah. And then you've got your Jake Hager and your Wardlow thing.
They settled that. Wardlow was better.
Yeah, but you've got like 7 ready-made feuds just in between. You don't need to rush to all of them versus each other in freaking War Games. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Moxley and Eddie Kingston. They were cool.
It was good. I'm wondering now if we're going to get ready to get into an 8-man tag team match.
Yeah, I think we probably are. Which they keep on doing way too many of them. But
I'm trying to work out who's going to be the extra man for Kenny's team, but unless he calls on Adam Page.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. I've not even heard any rumours. Do
you know Adam Page's face, so it wouldn't work.
Yeah. I've not even heard any rumours about it, but I mean, it could be someone from New Japan. It could be anyone. It could be. I mean, he's Kenny Omega's a wrestling at Impact.
Yeah, bring on Will Ospreay.
Yeah. No, don't mention the name. New Japan will strike our video.
I'm not gonna listen to it either.
But no, I thought it was a great show, and it always reminds me though of we spoke over a year ago now, 16, 18 months ago now, about Tony Khan talking about no blood and all that stuff on television. We're not going to be doing all the hardcore stuff on television. So right 18 months ago he was adamant that they wouldn't be doing that stuff, but here we are with ending the show pulling thumbtacks out of someone's back. I loved it, but I just always find it funny.
Well, let's be honest, I think he kind of shot himself in the foot on that one.
Yeah.
Because he was trying to just win over the fans to a key value point, but that's the small value of people who just want pure wrestling.
Yeah, you're right. And like Cody Rhodes at the start, I think it's funny, right? Because Cody Rhodes and Tony Khan were saying 2 very different things at the same time at the start, weren't they? Cody Rhodes was out there saying,
We'll have a bit of everything.
It's going to be a buffet, you know. It's going to be a buffet, a little bit of everything. And Tony Khan was saying, sports, sports, sports. It's not sports.
And Cody won.
yeah. Because it's true. It's like I've heard everyone say it. You know, I've heard Bischoff, Jim Ross, Cornette even say it. It needs to be that. You can't just have. I mean, Jim Cornette would Jim Cornette would have 2 hours of just wrestling bell to bell, clean finishes, no dodgy tricks, and move on. But
I thought that's what New Japan did.
Yeah. Well, I even heard something. I also watched New Japan talk about Dave Meltzer. New Japan obviously did some kind of fuck finish this week, you know, where they had a dodgy finish, and Dave like ripped it apart, like, they can't do too many of those. They can't be like the Americans. They need to stay away from it. And it's like, you know, if we had,
okay, they did 1 in 6 months. Give them a break.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, Jesus Christ, if we had every match on an AEW card or a WWE card, perfect wins, babyface heel, nothing else, I would lose my mind. But yeah. I don't know. It's just crazy. Well, someone even said the other day that AEW hasn't had a single DQ finish on its show yet since it started, which is kind of impressive because they don't want to do that. They want clean wins, which is kind of cool. But I mean, I wouldn't have even noticed it though if someone hadn't said it. Smackdown.
It's not overly too exciting. It was good for what it was.
Yeah. It was fine.
It's not got quite the impact it's had like about a month ago.
Yeah. I think it was cool seeing Edge back wrestling, but it wasn't incredible. I mean, when I was watching it live and I noticed that the match started with 10 minutes of the show left and they hadn't even made their entrances, I was like, okay, I can see where this is going to go, you know. But it was fine. He looked good. Seth Rollins' suit was ridiculous. That seems to be like the highlight of the show is what the hell is Seth Rollins going to be wearing? Yeah, I don't know. There was just not, as you said, there's just not much to the show. They were clearly trying to build towards Fastlane, but yeah, there wasn't much there. I enjoyed Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens a lot this week. I think Sami Zayn's so funny.
What I quite found funny with I think it was Twitter, someone makes a change there. Sami Zayn turning on Kevin Owens.
There's a great thing going around Twitter as well of, well, you know what, we talked about how Vince McMahon has banned leg slapping, thigh slapping for
stupid fucking thing. I don't care how obvious it is. The sound just makes it seem better.
Yeah, obviously, we spoke about it last week. He issued this edict, and there's a clip going around Twitter where WWE's Twitter account tweeted this out of when Sami went and kicked Kevin Owens at the announce table. He raised his hand and went like that to slap his leg, and you can just see the fear come over his face, and he just turned his hand and lightly grazed himself because he was like, shit, I can't do that. And they tweeted it out like in slow motion, and you can see literally like the fear go over his face of, oh no, what am I doing here? And stopping. That's just so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. Obviously AEW even had a nice little dig at that this week with Kenny Omega and all that. They were selling T-shirts with about thigh slapping. But yeah, I mean,
they've really got to start playing the ball a bit better, like WWE, and don't acknowledge what the other show.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard. Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. Like,
there's no offense. You learn that model back from Eric Bischoff, which Eric Bischoff admits it was a mistake.
Yeah. Because
it also fucked me over as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's literally what I was going to say. Like, Eric says all the time, he's like, he now knows that the idea is when you're number one, you don't talk about number two. But when you're number two, you do. You mention number one because you obviously you want to get that rub. It's like when WCW was firing all cylinders, yeah, he shouldn't have spent every minute of every day talking about what they're doing over there. I mean, at the end of the day, it killed them with Mick, right? So yeah. we know. Like, if you're taking the piss, people are going to go, oh, why? What's that all about? And change the channel. Yeah, you're right, because I thought the same thing. Like, and Dave Meltzer even criticised him for it as well, because he said this week that shit's fine on BTE. You know, keep that shit to BTE. You don't need it on your national television because it does make you look petty.
You do not need to keep bringing up the fact that WWE is there. Everyone knows WWE is fucking there and what WWE are doing.
Yeah, and it's all subtle little stupid digs, things like the brass ring hanging above, for the Vince McMahon thing, and the initial introduction of Brody Lee's character when when he was shouting at people for sneezing and stuff like that. Yeah, okay, we get it, but yeah, you're right. It's
But with the Brody Lee thing, it was just, let's be honest, it can be a Stone Cold Steve Austin thing when he went to ECW just to vent.
Yeah. And the thing is, I enjoyed the Brody Lee stuff, but it's like, as you say, it's like if you do too many of them, in the end it becomes like, well, what's your product? Why don't we tell you about? Why don't you tell us about your product rather than talk about the other guy?
Yeah.
But yeah, so Fastlane is tonight. We've got a little card.
What, 7 matches on it?
Yeah. So let's quickly go through these. So we have Riddle versus.
Which has been more than some of their other pay-per-views.
It has. This is probably going to be one of the longer ones, which is a shame because most pay-per-views at the moment have been like, 3 hours and done. It's been great. We have Riddle versus Mustafa Ali.
Who cares?
Yeah, Nakamura versus Seth Rollins. Same thing.
I'm hoping that just leads to Seth v Cesaro at WrestleMania.
At Mania. Yeah, which is good. Cesaro will get his first ever Mania match.
And if Cesaro doesn't win it, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah, come on, they've got to give it to Cesaro. Let him have his Mania moment. He's never had a.
Keep fucking screwing over Tony fucking Storm on NXT, and then they're going to not give fucking Cesaro his win. Bastards.
They've got to eventually. Like they've been teasing Cesaro for freaking 10 years now, pretty much at this point. Obviously Alexa Bliss versus Randy Orton, which, as we know, isn't going to happen.
Well, let's be honest. If the Fiend doesn't come back tonight, if Randy Orton doesn't punt Alexa Bliss in the head, and the Fiend doesn't show up tomorrow for blood, then I just don't understand what's going on with the world in wrestling.
I hope to God there is an explanation as to where the Fiend's got. I know he was set on fire, but we haven't heard him whatsoever. So I hope they do actually explain it, or where he's gone, what he's been doing, and they don't just say, "Oh, he's back now," move on.
He's been spending his time redoing his outfit,
applying Savlon to his burns,
pumping some steroids into him, working on his body.
Yeah, I mean, Christ, he looked jacked up when he last came back. Person knows what he's going to look like now. We have Drew versus Sheamus, which obviously Drew's winning, right? Like, they've announced the goddamn Mania match with him. They're not going to beat him on the pay-per-view.
You know what? You want to know probably the reason why they didn't make it number one contender match? Just so Sheamus can win.
Oh, God. That's even worse, isn't it? That's even worse. God, it's like... Yeah. I mean, they may do. Who the hell? I don't know. I can't pretend to understand Vince McMahon's booking philosophy in 2021. It's rightfully, it should be Drew McIntyre because he's got a Mania main event, but you're absolutely right.
And then we got Big E versus the Racist.
Yeah, Big E versus Apollo Crews. This is different. It doesn't really work for me. I know lots and lots of black people are very supportive of it. They are very supportive.
I like it, but the problem is, I don't understand why all of a sudden he's not putting on accent. I don't mind the whole character. I just don't get why he's putting on the accent now.
Yeah. I've seen lots of African Americans talking about it and saying that they like the representation and seeing it and seeing someone that represents like Nigeria and blah blah blah. But also, we know what he sounds like. That's the thing. Like that we've spoken about before, but we know that's not his real voice. So,
and the problem is as well though with it as well is when he starts to get worked up in his promo, he sort of stutters with it, and his actual voice starts to come through, and he has to then sort of stop himself and then start again. Yeah. It's
look. I'm glad they're actually doing something with Apollo Crews finally. Because they stopped for a long time. Yeah, and we have Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler with Reginald versus Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair for the Tag Team Championship. I don't know. I hate why they keep on doing this with the goddamn Women's Tag Championship. It's like they just have to put the Women's Champion in there for the tag titles.
Who cares? It is at that point.
Yeah, it's just so stupid. Like we had such a cool little run with who had them right at the beginning, where they actually. I mean, I know Sasha and Bayley done really well with them, but Billy Kay and Peyton Royce, didn't they were great with them. I don't know.
Yeah, but they never got to put them on the line. That was the problem.
No. Yeah,
but through last year they were doing quite well because you had Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross,
and
Bayley and Sasha again.
Yeah, but now it's just like they
But
always
the
seem
problem is,
to be booked with the champion.
I've got to admit, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are doing good things. They're showing up on different
Yeah,
shows,
they are.
but they're just being given naff stories.
They are. Like, there's nothing against them. I like them as champions. It's just like, why? I don't understand why they have to be in a story with the women's champion all the time. Like,
No,
Bill,
which is also quite amusing because at the same time as them being in that, even on the same show with whatever, they're also mixed in with other stories.
yeah,
as
exactly.
well.
It's a bit of a cluster, and yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
But yeah, it's pointless. It's one of those ones. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are going to win it.
Yeah.
Probably find Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair will just beat the shit out of one another through the match, and then one of them will lose.
Yeah,
So
that's what I'm assuming. And then Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan with Edge as the special guest enforcer.
well, who do you reckon Edge is going to screw?
Yeah, right. Like, they're not beating Roman, I don't think. Right? Roman's not lost since his return, does he? At all? I don't believe. Although he did technically lose against Kevin Owens, but
Technically, well, no, because he's only really done championship matches.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. So even though he did lose the last man standing match to Kevin Owens, but he didn't lose it.
No, the referee stopped counting.
Yeah, the referee just stopped counting when it would have been like at 42 or whatever. I don't know. I think as we were both saying, I fear the triple threat coming at Mania, and I still fear the triple threat coming at Mania.
It's like my fears when I had that triple threat at that women's triple threat.
And I don't know. I can see them maybe going like down a Daniel Bryan retirement angle, because they've mentioned it a few times now.
It'd be quite good actually for him and Jey Uso at WrestleMania, him and Daniel Bryan.
Yeah. That's what. But my theory is that it'll be like night one, Bryan versus Jey, and if Bryan wins, he gets put in the title match on night 2.
I'm sorry, we've had a Daniel Bryan fucking movement WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Don't need another one.
Yeah, we don't need a triple threat match. We don't need another Charlotte, Becky, Ronda thing happening. We don't need that. We just leave the matches in. Yeah, I mean, Roman's probably gonna win, right? I don't know how. I don't know what Edge's role here.
I got a feeling at the end of the day, Edge will stop Jey getting involved, and then he'd potentially maybe do some kind of thing where Daniel Bryan's about to win, and Edge stops him.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, well, that's tonight. That's tonight on Fastlane. That'll be interesting. So if you're going to be watching that along live, follow us on Twitter at SCW_podcast. I'll be live tweeting throughout it. If you're new here, please do like and subscribe to us here on this channel, and we'll see you next time for another video. We are out.